Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Butts in the Seats podcast, the March 29th, 1999 Monday Nitro. I'm Nick alongside Emily.
Hello, hi, welcome.
And Emily, it occurs to me that we have not really said what the hell this podcast actually is in quite some time. I think we did it for the first 3 episodes, and then we got the hang of things, so we went, okay, we know what it's about.
Yeah, we figure everybody else knows too.
So Emily, in short summation, what do we do here?
So we are going week by week through WCW's Nitro product and kind of identifying the fall of the WCW company.
Yeah, pretty much. We're not doing Thunders at this point, which unfortunately means that we're going to miss out on a glorious NWO B-Team Battle Royal.
Oh no, darn.
What you just heard there is about the same crowd noise as what happened during that match.
I'm so sad we're not watching Thunder.
I thought about sneaking it in as a little bonus segment.
Absolutely. I will not watch Thunder until we have to watch Thunder.
So you're taking a very similar approach to Thunder as it seems like the rest of the show is. Where it's like, listen, I'm not going to do anything with this until I have to.
Right.
As previously mentioned, we are focusing on the March 29th, 1999 Monday Nitro, aka the last one of the original set.
The original set?
The staging and
Oh, that set. I thought you were
logos
talking about an episode set.
No.
The set of the stage.
No, yes, this is Monday Nitro Series 15.
Right.
This show is live from Toronto, Canada, and apparently it's this is the first time we've been in Canada on TNT, and I'm like... Okay,
that's a qualifier.
Yeah, it's a weird qualifier. So it seems like it's the first, Nitro on there, but I don't know if they've had pay-per-views, and they definitely did, house shows at some point, but that was always very firmly kind of Stampede Wrestling in WWF country, so that might kind of be why they hadn't done any shows there.
WWE is kind of blacklisted in Toronto at this point, aren't they? Not necessarily. Well,
really.
Audience-wise.
That's a bit complicated. I think they actually show up probably shorter than you think. Yeah, I'll put it this way. The people of Canada don't forget even in 2004.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, okay, we're just going to go and they're going to show up and they'll be mad at Shawn Michaels and that'll pretty much be it. Oh, and Earl Hebner.
And Earl. Of course. Fuck Earl.
So the show opens with David Flair and Tori Wilson, and I don't remember what they do.
They just mumble talk to each other in front of a fireplace, and David talks about how Hulk Hogan is a better father figure than Ric Flair is.
Yeah, he's like, I spent one day with him and he's a better dad.
Yeah.
It's like,
Okay. Yeah, they're in a black and white sort of hue in front of a fireplace, backs to the camera, just mumble talking to each other, as, David Flair does. And yeah, they're just talking about Hogan, how great of a dad he is, I guess.
So we then go into the arena. I would say we go to Nitro, but according to Tony Schiavone, Nitro doesn't start for another hour.
Which confirms what we said, I think, last episode, that the first hour of Nitro is just a freaking pre-show.
See, but they don't say it's a pre-show.
But
They just don't say what it is.
But Tony Schiavone saying that Nitro does not start for another hour, that is confirmation to me that first hour is a pre-show. We're not going to not watch it,
I'll
but
put it this way.
It's a pre-show.
On the TV listings and in the ratings, that first hour is Nitro.
I understand that is what...
On Peacock, it is Nitro.
Listen, I understand, but for all intents and purposes, it is a pre-show. And you will not convince me otherwise. Because we have said, as this podcast has gone in the last couple episodes, that the show does not really start getting good until the second hour. When it goes up against Raw.
Which kind of makes no sense.
Oh, no, and this is another conversation that we've had. They should be having, some of their great stuff in the first hour.
Or better building.
Better building, correct. Something to keep an audience, so that when the hour mark comes, you're not like, I'm bored, let's see what they're doing. But, who am I?
So the first thing we see in the arena, though, is a blue VW Beetle, sponsored by Beetle Adventure Racing on the N64.
Which you did some research into.
It is the Battle for the Beatles sweepstakes. Commentary is just kind of chatting, and there's huge "We Want Bret" chants kind of going throughout a good portion of this night.
Yeah.
Larry Zbyszko starts talking about Bret and completely fumbles his fucking catchphrase. So, he's the best that is, and
he doesn't really seem to care.
Yeah, he just kind of like forgot and gave up halfway through trying to remember what Bret's catchphrase was. Tony then throws to a clip from last week of Bret Hart saying he can beat Goldberg in 5 minutes, and they're really pushing the 5-minute aspect of that. Which
to me means that at the next pay-per-view there's going to be like some sort of timed match.
That would make sense.
But because you just said that, it's not going to happen. Now, growing up, were you one of the kids that when you would see a VW Beetle, were you like, man, I really want that car?
No, we did the Punch Buggy game.
I mean, we did the Punch Buggy game too, but like in like 3rd grade when they asked like, what's your dream car? That was one of mine.
I really wonder how the Punch Buggy game got started.
I don't know. Do you think it was like a marketing thing? Do you think that Volkswagen made it up?
I don't know. After the clip, we get Conan coming out to a theme that might be new, but I rate that pretty much every time Conan comes out. He's going by the moniker of K-Dog, too. I think he's used that before. Has he? Yeah. Because I don't like it. Why is it? In case you forgot, with the Volkswagen talk, it's 1999, so everyone is blank dog. Yeah, it's unoriginal, but I'm not like, ugh. Yeah. I didn't like it. Now, I just don't like Conan, so. What if you had Ernest Miller come out and he could be the cat dog? I think Nickelodeon would have a field day with that lawsuit. Is that show out at that point? 99? Oh, good question. I don't know. I don't know when Cat Dog was. Ooh. That might have been early 2000s. 1998. Oh, so it is out. So they would have had a lawsuit. So Conan and Disco Inferno apparently will have a match at Spring Stampede because of that music video. Oh, yeah. Feud. When they were talking about this, I was like, oh, yeah, that was a feud, sort of, kind of, maybe, I guess. I don't remember anything from it, really. I remember it being kind of dumb. But Conan cuts his normal kind of Spanglish promo, which prompted me to look up the demographics of Canada. And I'm like, oh, large chance no one knew what he was saying in Canada. Yeah, you said there's not a very big Spanish. Not that there's no Spanish speaking community. No, it was like under 3%. Whereas in America, it's kind larger. Of... So he's cutting his promo, and who comes out to interrupt but Vincent? Which prompted me to do a giant sigh and roll my eyes, because this thing is still happening. Ugh. Conan clearly has a good quip he wants to use on Vincent, and Vincent's like, no, and just shouts over him until he's in the ring. And I'm like, what was the joke you had? I want to know. That happens all the time with Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan when they are in like a backstage segment. They're not actually like doing a match or something. They just have like a backstage sort of promo, like talking at each other. They have phrases or quips that they want to throw at each other, and they just yell over each other. Honestly, I think that's more on Flair. I don't care. The more I've been watching, Hogan usually waits his turn. Granted, he'll take like 4 turns, but he'll wait his turn. There's a lot of classic like Survivor Series, like large group promos where Hogan will go first, everyone will do their thing, and then Hogan will go last. Again. But this is a match now, and it'll be Conan versus Vincent. Why? In which Vincent like works over Conan for most of this match, making him look like a complete jabroni. Jabroni? You just said jabroni. So, nothing happens. Stevie Ray comes down. Vince gets distracted, kinda. Conan hits a facebuster, then locks in the Tequila Sunrise and wins. Oh, I don't know if this... I meant to go back and look. Did Vincent trip getting into the ring? I didn't really notice it. Okay, I think I noticed him trip getting in the ring. I think I was just waiting for Conan to get his quip. I think I missed it if Vincent did. Fair. That is fair. But yeah, this was a really nothing match, and commentary was a pain in the ass through all of it, as they are through this whole episode. I really hate commentary. I just want Nitro to stop making me watch Vincent matches. Yeah, and I really want Nitro to stop making me watch anything that has to do with, I'm the leader of the NWO. No, I'm the leader of the NWO. It doesn't matter. This is the stupidest feud. Yeah. Yeah. Is it dumber than what happens next? Just Hulk Hogan and Tori Wilson talking about David Flair. Yes, I do think it is stupider. Because this actually goes somewhere. Well, they're talking about David Flair for a little bit. And then Tori Wilson asks about the match Hogan had with Kevin Nash, like kind of unprompted. You know, the match. And Hogan, to Tori Wilson, is like, oh man, it was one of the biggest battles of my career. Like, he's treating it like it was a shoot. I'm pretty sure he called it one of the most savage battles of his career. Bear in mind, we are not talking about a real match. We are talking about the finger poke. This is the finger poke. Tori asks him something, and he whispers in her ear. And I'll be honest, Tori Wilson looked a little uncomfortable through all of this.
I wonder what he whispered.
No, I'm saying beforehand.
Oh, really?
So we'll kind of continue with this later. It does seem to be going somewhere. We then get a Mean Gene interview in the ring with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, which I thought was weird to immediately have the Hogan segment backstage, and then he's coming out.
Yeah. In this segment, Hulk Hogan does mention that he has the largest arms in the house.
In the world.
In the world. Someone tell Scott Steiner. Does he know?
Oh.
Does he know? Did he know that he just got battled, basically?
I think Hogan used to claim that before anyway. But Hogan is in full face promo mode here.
Yeah, he is.
He opens with the, well, you know something, Mean Gene, which gets a big pop.
The audience was just really hot for this episode.
Canadian crowds usually are. Canadian crowds also are known for ignoring heels and faces and kind of cheering whoever they want.
Just like me. I don't know who's a heel and who's a face ever.
For a while, WWE was trying to treat it as like, oh, it's Bizarro Land. We don't know why these guys are getting cheered. It's like...
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, why is heel Cesaro doing a swing of 20 rounds getting cheered? This is so weird.
Because it's amazing. Have you seen Cesaro do the swing? It's incredible.
It also doesn't help that Hogan immediately puts over the crowd and slips like right back into his 80s promos. Just fully coked up kind of thing. Except for the fact of he doesn't have the voice for it anymore.
Oh, I'm sure his vocal cords are fried.
Yeah, he's trying to do it, and it's like, man, if you listen to, like, one around WrestleMania, like, 3-ish to now, granted, that's almost 15 years.
Yeah.
The voice is so different.
That's what happens when you scream for a living.
But the gist of it is, he wants to wrestle Ric Flair for the belt. And he keeps saying, I won, it should be my belt.
Yeah, he says, I am the man because I beat the man. Where is my belt?
He also says that he has Kevin Nash backstage with the rest of the Wolfpack just looking for Flair. And this is such a weird fucking face turn.
It is.
It's like, I have weaponized the NWO, but I'm a face.
Yeah, it's strange.
This wasn't a bad promo. It was just kind of weird. They're like being very non-committal with this face turn.
I think this would count for like Bizarro Land promo world. I think. Because it feels weird to see Hulk Hogan as a face. So the fact that he's being treated like one is a little strange. And the fact that like what he's saying is not very facey of him. So
it is, and then it's not. It's a little like too mixed is the issue.
True.
On commentary, they suddenly tease that Sting might be here, which kind of ruins the surprise a bit.
Yeah, I really wish they hadn't done that.
I think they wanted to make sure people stayed tuned in.
I guess, yeah, because this is before the world of Twitter. Obviously, people can be like, "Oh my God, Sting's on WCW, change the channel." Did
you hear how they knew that Sting might be there?
They saw him in the airport.
No. Customs tipped them off.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I know. I heard
like we heard from customs agents that Sting, because they crossed the border.
That's so weird. Like, what customs agents can be like, I got this hot tip for you?
We then go to 60 seconds with Goldberg again. It's the same thing from last week, so not actually 60 seconds in total.
No.
There is a 60-second countdown during it, but...
Yeah, that countdown, I think that bothers me the most, because there's flashing the numbers, but the numbers aren't even coming up in, like... matching increments of time of each other.
Yeah, it'll be
it'll be like 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45. I'm like, pick one.
I think that's what prompted me to go, is this even 60 seconds?
Absolutely not.
After 60 seconds with Goldberg, on commentary, they're talking about Sting some more. But what is he wearing? Because they make a big deal out of, is he wearing the black and white? Is he wearing the black and red? Basically, is he Wolfpack or not?
Oh, I forgot he was in the NWO.
Yeah, you mentioned to me that we've only seen him, like, once.
I don't know anything about Sting. I've seen him in Halloween Havoc, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's it. That was months ago.
Yeah, he got taken out by Bret Hart.
Sure, I don't know.
And unfortunately, because I've only really watched WWE, I don't really know a ton about Sting. So, it'd be a nice learning experience for both of us.
Okay. I really thought that you knew more about him, so it was just going to be me being like, I don't know. Because on every episode that we watched, like, everyone's, like, wearing Sting masks, and Sting is this big deal. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this guy. Yeah. I'm supposed to want him back. I'm supposed to love him, but I don't know who he is. Granted, we started in October, but, like,
It's also just a generally strange character of, he's meant to be this, like, mysterious vigilante, but he still has, like, certain elements of, like, his old surfer gimmick, especially in his promo style, where, you know, he'll come down, be all mysterious, then be like, ow!
Yeah, I did not know that he had a surfer gimmick. He seems very, like, mysterious to me, kind of like, from what I know about Sting, I think of him as, like, kind of Undertaker Kane-esque.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the gimmick turned into.
Okay. So it's like how Undertaker went from mysterious wizard man to motorcycle biker taker?
Sting never really had super fantastical kind of powers.
Oh, okay.
Picture more like Batman.
So he has gadgets.
He has his baseball bat.
That's not a gadget. What if Batman just whipped out a baseball bat?
Yeah, he's Batman.
Oh my god.
That's why he's called Batman. What do you think?
Oh no, I don't know anything.
But Sting would also, like, rappel down from the rafters.
Right, I did know that.
Commentary notes that Mike Tenay interviewed DDP this past weekend, and Tenay throws to a Steiner-DDP feud package before the interview actually happens.
So I know this has nothing to do with the interview, but I do find it really funny that I take my notes on an iPad for these shows, and it always autocorrects Mike Tenay to Mike Teeny. It makes me laugh.
The package was very dramatic. It left out the bit of Scott Steiner trying to sue DDP and get him arrested.
Yeah.
Which they just dropped.
Good.
I did note that they probably should have cut Buff Bagwell out of this feud package.
Yeah, probably.
But if
it were up to you, they would cut Buff Bagwell out of everything.
Different reasons. This is, hey, you know how Buff Bagwell and Scott Steiner are feuding? Here's a reminder of how they were pals.
Fair.
He didn't do much in the package either, so you really could have just not showed him removing the turnbuckle and just had like a close-up shot of the turnbuckle and he gets the same point across.
True. I don't know.
So at the actual interview, Mike Tenay asked for an update on Kimberly and for an update on DDP himself. DDP says that Kimberly is doing fine, and apparently he had a herniated disc, but he's better now. And
that disc was starting to paralyze his leg?
I don't know how much of that was real. Because he missed like a little over a month.
Yeah, not long enough to have like a paralysis and recovery. But in the interview, they mentioned the 30-day stipulation thing that you and I had questions about.
Yeah. And DDP is like, no, I didn't fucking agree to that. No, it's stupid. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Which I did note at the time. I'm like, yeah, no one ever agreed to that. It's just when Steiner came out and said.
Right. But that could have honestly gone either way. It could have been like, yeah, you fucking stupid. Why'd you think that was going to actually happen? And WCW being like, oh, well, the 30-day stipulation. Like, they could have rolled with it. Mike
Tenay starts kind of making excuses for why DDP lost. And DDP's like, no. I don't need your excuses. And then Tenay calls him the people's champion. And DDP was like, don't call me that. Just stop with that. Don't believe the hype or something.
I don't know exactly the terminology. But I'm also curious, because I know that they had the same thing at the same time with the people's champion. Was the Rock was using people's champion at this point, was he?
I don't really think so, because he's a heel at this point. He's the corporate champion.
But before he was corporate champion, was he people's? Because I know they were both the people's champion at the same time.
Possibly, but that's not a uniquely wrestling term.
No? Okay. I was wondering if there was some sort of rivalry.
I think when DDP came over to WWE, I don't think they even ever brought it up.
Yeah. That would have been funny, though, to do like a battle of the people's champions.
Yeah, but then they went with the Stalker storyline.
Yeah, that made DDP look great.
DDP says he'll be back soon, but not like a bull in a china shop. He's going to do it his way, and he's coming for Steiner. I thought this was a really good interview.
It was. It was a very telling, like, people need to know what they need to know, and gives you an idea of DDP and his mindset now.
Yeah,
like,
I was intrigued. I wrote, I'm looking forward to seeing him back. Whenever that is.
Eventually.
After the interview, we get another match. We get Wrath versus Kenny Chaos.
Boy, was I looking forward to this one.
Two big power boys going nowhere.
Yeah. I always forget how, like, tall and built Wrath is.
Oh, yeah.
I just think of him as a nothing guy, because he kind of is like a nothing guy, but he's kind of hunky.
I think you think of him as being like Kenny Chaos.
Probably. I probably get them mixed up in my head.
But he's hunky.
He's a little hunky. I'd smash.
Commentary dubs this, like, weird submission to the web. It was the one where he, like, kind of had, like, his neck hooked over the top rope, but then had his leg wrapped around him a little bit.
Yeah, and I couldn't really tell, like, where the pressure was going on that one.
Yeah, it's like, it's the web, and it's like, Well, he's in the ropes, so it's literally never going to finish the match.
Yeah, no.
The only exception to that is the tarantula.
Well, because you can tap out of the tarantula, right?
No, you're in the ropes, but it's like it's meant to be. This hold is devastating, so like 4 seconds is enough.
You will fall out and you will not
kind of be out of it.
Out. Yeah. This does not have the same impact as the tarantula.
On commentary, Tony notes the 9 p.m. start time again. So what are we watching?
It's the pre-show, I'm telling you!
I just want them to say it. Because they're saying Nitro starts at 9. Okay.
The TV guide says 8.
Then what are we currently watching? Just follow up your sentence with, welcome back to the pre-show. Nitro will be on in, 10 minutes.
Right.
Ugh. Kenny Chaos hits a diving leg drop, which does not get the pin. Wrath hits a sleeper Uranagi kind of move, apparently called the death penalty.
Ah.
And then he gets a really brutal looking meltdown for the win. And I just don't care.
No, I don't really care either. But my hunky boy won. Woo.
After the match, we get Mike and Tony plugging the hotline. Usual kind of clickbaity stuff.
Yeah. I always think it's so expensive because it's like $1.69 per minute.
Yeah.
That's so expensive.
And it's probably welcome to the WCW.
Yeah. Would you like to hear about the episode? Press 1 for yes. It's... Ugh.
Backstage, Kevin Nash and Tori Wilson have a chat. And she asks him, hey, what happened with that Hogan match?
Yeah, Kev, what happened?
Well, apparently, Tori is breaking the news to Kevin Nash that Hulk Hogan's yeah, I beat him. And we had a really hard-fought match. And Kevin Nash is that's interesting. Because, he's pretty he's annoyed and in disbelief.
So
but he doesn't actually say anything.
Is Kevin Nash in the mindset that was just a fuck you sort of match? Just playful, sort of not real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Nash is clearly aware of the reality of the situation. Okay. And Hogan, who they're pushing for a face turn, is
trying to make this real.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Kevin Nash is no, he literally asked, did you watch the match? She's yeah. He's then don't be stupid. But that sounds like they're sowing some seeds of dissension. So apparently we're close enough to the top of the hour, so we're just starting Nitro. Because Mean Gene brings out Ric Flair, and he does the thing where he starts introducing him, and the 2001 music is starting up, and oh, I still love that. Mm-hmm. You can't do that really with anybody else, but it works great for Flair.
It really does.
Flair does not do his mean woo by God Gene. I honestly, I'm I think we're done.
No.
He's a heel now.
Oh, come on.
Heel Ric Flair can't do it.
We already lost Who's That Pokemon because Rey Mysterio got unmasked. We can't lose Mean Woo by God Gene.
Well, Flair comes out and gets a big heel response. Mm. Gene asks him about the Hogan challenge. Flair kind of brushes it off and says that going to Canada was a bad decision because he doesn't like being here. The laziest cheapie.
I don't like it here.
I thought your local sports team stuff was pretty lazy. This was even lazier. Flair says he has a surprise and is going to bring out a major superstar, but he gets interrupted by asshole chants. So Flair brings out DDP.
What? I thought he was coming back on his own time.
Yeah, this seemed really weird to do this interview and then just bring him out 20 minutes later.
If that. I hated that.
DDP compares Flair to Bischoff, which is a pretty fair thing, and he comes out, like a face. Mm-hmm. They trade barbs, which feel a little real in terms of yeah, we don't like each other. You were holding me down when you were pushing me. It's yeah, I don't like that you got here, but here you are. I'm kind of wondering if there was some real heat there.
Probably. There's probably bits of reality in there. I wouldn't be surprised, at least.
DDP wants a match with Scott Steiner and then just heals on the crowd and Canada as a whole. But he's working against Flair, which would make you think he's a face.
Right. So, but I don't feel bad for not knowing who's heel and who's face. Because shit like this happens. I don't feel bad about it.
Well, I have a theory that I'll tell you about at the end of this segment. So Hogan comes out and he wants a match with Flair. So Flair makes Hogan versus DDP and Hogan agrees to that.
Even though that's not what anybody wanted.
And there's nothing on the line. It's not Hogan wins, he gets the title shot. DDP wins, he gets the Steiner match. No, nothing like that. Flair offers to be DDP's manager, but DDP doesn't want it, but Flair will be it anyway. And in the middle of them arguing about that, we cut to Sting up in the rafters. Which they kind of miss the first time. I don't think Flair can actually find him because Flair's just like walking in circles looking up, and it's like
he knows he's supposed to be there somewhere. It's just where.
So Sting is just watching, and that's pretty much the segment. This was a fucking mess.
My favorite part of it was when Hogan came out, he starts talking to DDP, and he's like, we've got something in common. And then he goes on to say nothing that they have in common.
I think it was that they didn't like Flair, but he didn't even say it.
He didn't say it.
So I have a theory. My theory is that DDP is going to be a face next week.
Okay.
Hogan is in the middle of a face turn. And I think Hogan, with his creative control, didn't want to do babyface versus babyface, so he had DDP heel on the crowd. Oh. That way DDP would be a heel.
And next week you think they're going to like team up and be buddies?
I don't know if they'll be buddies, but it was interesting that DDP went, Canada sucks, and like praised the USA. So if they're in the USA next week, technically he wouldn't be a heel to them.
True.
We'll see. That'll be confirmed or disproven next week, but it wouldn't shock me.
But Sting's back. Yay!
Then we get the Nitro opening, which is the last time with this set. We get the Nitro girls in the ring, and we actually noticed they recycled material.
Yes, this is the same dance as a few weeks ago.
It was like that rain dance kind of move that tipped us off. We've seen this
familiar.
One before. Speaking of things that I feel like we've seen before, but I guess we probably haven't. Scott Norton versus Rick Steiner. And I remember in the first couple months of the show when the NWO music used to bring a very like different type of dread. Now it's just
again.
So this is the battle of two large men in black singlets with mustache goatee combos.
My God, these men are identical.
And nothing happens for a while. Match goes to commercial. When we come back, both men are down.
Yeah, this match was so nothing.
Scott Norton tries to hit some sort of powerbomb, pile driver, dominator kind of thing. He basically picks him up and then goes to like drop him on his face. Which I don't know if that's what was supposed to happen because it looked pretty fucking scary.
Oh, wait, yes. I do remember this. Yeah, because that was...
Like, it looked like he was going for a pile driver at one point, but then he kind of kept picking him up, and then he went, oh, I guess I'm supposed to go this far, and just, like, dropped him. Yeah.
It felt like he kind of, like, his arms gave out or something, or he slipped or lost his grip.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much of it is him not caring, considering finish of this match is Rick Steiner hits Steiner Bulldog, and Scott Norton kicks out at 3.1, which means the pin did happen. Mm-hmm. But Scott Norton wanted to keep himself strong. He did get in trouble with people in the back for that.
Did he?
He was not supposed to do that.
Good. Okay. Good.
And we missed it. Apparently, a couple weeks ago, there was like a big brawl with like the Four Horsemen and the NWO, and he was just no-selling.
Oh, was it like on Thunder?
It might have been on Nitro. We might have just missed it.
No.
Scott Norton's a bit in the doghouse because he thinks he should be a big star.
Welcome to the doghouse. You didn't do that on purpose.
No, I did not, but that worked. This was not a good match. This is a rough night for matches so far.
Yeah, this is not a match, a good match episode.
We then go backstage, and Rey Mysterio is talking to Billy Kidman.
My boys.
He wants him to be his partner in a tag team title match against Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko.
Oh.
Kidman very smartly is like, listen, I've done shit like this before. Can we, like, not fuck each other over? Can we just not?
I like when they're a team. I love my boys. They do so well in the ring together, like against each other or with each other. I love them. I love them so much.
Ray agrees, so that'll be our match. I have to be consistent. It is stupid that Rey Mysterio is getting a tag title match when he doesn't even have a partner. That match is in, 2 or 3 from now, and Rey Mysterio does not have a partner for a tag title match.
True.
Again, tag team. I should really emphasize the word team there.
Tag team title match.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you're going to face... Well, I guess last week they booked one guy against and somebody just ran down, so maybe that's how they're doing things now. So we got a couple matches until then. Next up, we have a TV title match. It is Booker T against Chris Adams.
So this is the British guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot keep this guy's name straight because that name sounds so American. And he comes out in, like, the Union Jack undies.
Well, it doesn't help that Bryan Adams is part of the NWO.
Right. And Bryan Adams is also the name of a country singer, so it's very difficult for Emily.
So Booker T doesn't get a big vocal response, but, like, he is over.
Oh, yeah. I love Booker T.
Which might just be the crowd, because later when Bret Hart comes out, like, there's not a huge vocal pop, but you can tell everybody's into it. And I'm like, I think you just don't have that mic'd up great or mixed great. Actually, it's probably the mix, because they'll do chants sometimes, and you can definitely tell what the hell they're chanting. So
for sure.
I think it's just the mix. On commentary, Tony Schiavone just randomly buries Mike Tenay for his hotline secrecy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the exact quote. I did not write it down, but it was something like, "Oh, Mr. Hotline, give me $2 a minute and I'll tell you what's up." It's like, all right, Tony, Jesus.
Like, look, we're all thinking it, but you don't have to say it.
He's not wrong, but he shouldn't say it. Story of this match early on is that Booker T doesn't seem to really sweat Adams, and Booker's just so damn quick. Booker hits a scissor kick and accidentally clips Adams on his legs going up. It was like, ooh.
And hit him kind of hard on the way down, too. Yeah, that one just looked like it hurt.
On the outside, Adams hits a super kick to Booker, and then back inside, he hits a power bomb on Booker. It looked pretty smooth, too. It was like, oh, shit. Booker hits his big spine buster, which they call a sidewalk slam, which is not what that move is. He then follows it up with a flapjack, a spinneroonie, which is still not named.
Yeah.
Harlem sidekick, and then a missile dropkick, and the win.
Yes.
This is the best match of the night so far, but that really doesn't say much.
No, this was still a pretty nothing forgettable match.
It wasn't bad. Like, I wouldn't say that. I don't like the missile dropkick as his finisher. Like, it's not, like, an issue. I just think he has so many other good moves in his arsenal that it's like, just use one of them.
Right.
I don't know when he ends up with the bookend.
The bookend. Still a good name for a move.
On commentary, Larry Zbyszko checks out, and we'll get Bobby Heenan after the break. We get the Nitro girls. We then get a clip from last week of Rey Mysterio offering Kidman a title shot at Spring Stampede. Clip ends, and then Tony throws the clip. And they're like, we just watched that.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sorry about that.
Well.
Because he's trying to throw to it while Jerry Flynn is coming out for the next match.
Oh,
which
God.
is Jerry Flynn versus Chris Jericho.
With his floof. The floof is back, but
no
Ralphus
Ralphus.
is not.
Yeah, it is confirmed Ralphus has been taken off TV. He apparently has a bit of an attitude problem.
I'm kind of surprised.
He's getting a little too big for his britches.
You would never think a guy like that would be like, I'm too good for this, you know? He doesn't strike me as that kind of a guy, and yet here we are.
Well, I'm wondering if he just wanted a talent contract and not have to, like, set everything up all the time. Because he's still part of, the crew. So I'm wondering if he was like, hey, can I just do one of these jobs? And they're like, yeah, you can be crew.
Maybe, yeah.
But again, he will come back eventually.
I guess we'll never know what actually happened. Because he didn't write a book.
Jericho grabs a mic and says that he is 100% Canadian. He says he was born here, he grew up here, he got everything here. But now he lives in the U.S. Boo. He says he's glad he moved to the States because Canada sucks.
And the commentary did have a funny note during this where Jericho was saying, like, I'm 100% Canadian. And then commentary was like, what is that with the exchange rate? About 85%.
Yeah, there's a couple exchange rate jokes over the course of this, and they don't all work.
No, but that one made me laugh.
So match starts. Jerry Flynn hits a weird spin kick to Jericho in the corner, which ends up with Jerry Flynn, like, going to the outside.
Yeah.
Jericho hits a spin kick and then chokes Flynn with a bit of torn up t-shirt, which prompts, we want Bret chants.
Does Bret Hart do that? Or, like, what did that come from?
No, just, we want to see Bret.
We're over this.
Well, I think it was, this one Canadian just turned on us, so we want
Give us
the other Canadian. Flynn goes to vault Jericho into the corner, but instead locks in a single leg Boston Crab, which he thought looked pretty sore.
It did. It looked more sore than usual. Because I've seen that move before. It just looked rougher.
Jericho hits a lion salt. He goes up top for a move, but gets kicked across the chest on the way down. Oof. Bobby asks where Ralphus is, and no one has an answer for him.
We all want to know. But we also, I don't care. I don't care where Ralphus is.
Flynn goes for a powerbomb, but Jericho tries to roll through, but he's way too close to the ropes, so it just gets really badly botched, and then they end up just going to a different corner and, like, setting up a similar spot, and Jericho gets the pin with his feet on the ropes.
Yeah, it was essentially like they had to redo the ending.
This was another nothing match. Although, second to last Jericho match we're going to see.
Which is sad, because I love him, and this is one of the last matches I'm going to see of him on this podcast.
Yeah, that was a real ugly kind of end. It was like, I in the middle of them going for it, I'm like, this is not going to work. You are way too close to the ropes.
I mean, thankfully we have SmackDown back on Peacock now, and we can actually, like, see him. I'll be sad to not see Jericho when the time comes. Motherfuck. He'll come back eventually, right? They swap. They flip-flop around.
I don't think you'll see him until, like, 2008.
Really?
Like, he stays on Raw and then he vanishes. So, in something completely different, we get Mean Gene with Spice.
Our girl.
They're there.
She's been deemed our favorite Nitro girl.
Yes. They're there to plug the Battle for the Beatles sweepstakes. Spice is not a great promo here. She does well enough. I think Gene catches her off guard with a couple questions, and it's like, oh, I didn't have an answer for that.
Right.
But she calls the car spicy.
Spicy. Didn't you do a little bit of research on the actual game?
Yes, because I was like, there's no way this game is any good. And apparently it is. Because they're like, oh, someone's calling it the best racing game. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. People like Jack and Jill. Doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
This apparently got a 9.1 from IGN at the time and has a 90% on Metacritic. So it's like, okay.
So maybe it is good.
I just kind of immediately went, oh, it's like a tie-in title to a specific car. Like, this is not going to be any good.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and it's called Beetle Adventure Racing. Oh, it didn't help that it was made by EA, and now EA is like poison, but back then EA was still good. Looks like you can find it for not super expensive on eBay.
For which console?
N64. It's only on N64, apparently.
Oh, wow.
There's not a lot of them, though. So back to the actual wrestling portion of the show. We get Bret Hart coming out, and his theme is so bad that no one reacts when it starts.
Yeah, I thought it was strange that he didn't get like a big vocal pop, like you said.
You can hear it a bit when he actually walks out, but it's such a weird non-start to his music.
Yeah.
Versus, like, think about his WWE music and how it starts with that, like, a big note to start.
Right.
This is just, like, a really subtle fade in. So no one reacts at first, but then he walks out. And this is where I kind of like, okay, they're just not mixed well. It's not them. He's rocking some sort of Calgary hockey jersey. I don't know hockey.
We don't know hockey. Yeah.
I did find it interesting that there was no one here to interview Bret.
No, he's just going rogue on his own.
Yeah, he seems to be like one of the people who's like allowed to do that.
I guess they trust him with a microphone.
Yeah, I guess the Wolfpack occasionally does that.
But Gene's usually there to mediate.
Yeah, or it's like, okay, I am grabbing the mic before a match.
Right. But I did find it interesting when he came out. He said something along the lines of, everyone's upset about the WCW ratings. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I think that's because he has a guaranteed contract.
Well, yeah.
So he says, I'm not worried about the ratings, so I'm going to do a bit of Oh Canada.
Yeah, he talks the Oh Canada lyrics.
He does some slam poetry of Oh Canada.
But the audience loved it. I mean,
He then
they went
tells
right along with it.
He then tells Bischoff to put that in his pipe and smoke it.
Put what in his pipe?
I don't know.
Put what?
But also in
Canada?
kayfabe, Bischoff has like no power.
Not even in kayfabe, but just like Bischoff's just not around.
He's not on TV.
Yeah, he's just not a character right now.
Apparently, he's leaving early for a couple shows.
Oh well.
So Bret says that he's a 5-time world champion. He did not say WWE champion or WWF at that point, but he can't get a match with anybody. He wants to prove that he's the best and calls out William Goldberg.
William.
And then calls him a chicken.
The big chicken.
Bret says that he's not going anywhere until Goldberg comes out to fight him, and then also references the Goldberg challenge to Steve Austin, which commentary never said he was against. They just said that there was a challenge.
That's why I find it interesting that they let Bret Hart just be on his own on the mic up there. Like, sure, yeah, he's a good promo, but what's he going to say?
Bret also points out that he's beaten Austin every time they fought.
Is that true?
I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Especially one-on-one. There might be a tag match where Austin's won, but I think that might be accurate.
Okay.
Bret then takes off his one jersey to show a jersey underneath for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which gets a big pop. Goldberg comes out to large boos, but also Goldberg chant.
Yeah.
I think that was piped in.
Do you think?
I think
Goldberg
that was
chant?
Yeah, because they would do that sometimes, apparently, and it was such a weird mix of stuff, and I'm like, I think that has to be piped in.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Because I think this would be the first time Bret was at a wrestling show in Canada since Montreal.
And I think I asked you about that when we were watching it. I find that interesting. So maybe that's why they let him like go off on his own. I'm kind of shocked he didn't like shit talk any more than he did.
He is still employed.
I know, and he's professional, but it's so hard.
He's not one of those guys.
In that environment, though, it'd be hard for me to not take at least one jab, you know?
So Goldberg gets in the ring and spears Bret, but oddly stays down.
Yeah, they're just laying in the corner of the ring, like what looks like snuggling for a little while.
Yeah, I think you were saying like, well, somebody's going to come out.
Yeah, I thought somebody had missed like a cue or something, and they were just waiting.
So Bret finally starts to stir, and then rolls Goldberg over and pins him, basically. He does his own count.
Goldberg is like out.
He then gets up and removes his shirt to reveal a metal plate on his stomach. He goes full Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Which is think ripped from a fistful of dollars or for a few dollars more. One of them.
This got me. I was not expecting it. I was really confused as to what was happening in this whole moment. But yeah, no, that was good. That got me.
He then grabs a mic and says, "Hey, Bischoff and the WCW, I quit." And then he just goes to the back. Commentary is confused to why Bret said Bischoff, because again, in kayfabe, Bischoff has no power. And when they come back from the break, they show that Bischoff actually came out and it was like, "What are you doing?"
Like, while Bret was walking back up the ramp, Bischoff kind of like met him halfway and was like, "What the hell, man?"
Yeah. Which they're trying to be like, "Oh, is it a shoot?"
And honestly, if I was watching at that time, I probably would have thought it was a shoot. Because we also talked about the unfortunate timing of all of this.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a minute. Apparently, backstage, Bret and Bischoff got into a fight to sell this to the boys.
Are you kidding?
Nope. They wanted to treat it. They wanted everyone to think, "Ooh, it was real." So they got into an argument. Apparently, no one was buying it.
Good, because that's so stupid. Like, if you work in wrestling as a wrestler, like, come on, like, we can all just like go with the story. We can be actors and professionals. Like, you don't have to fucking lie to me.
No, the Bischoff tried that a whole bunch in his time.
Like, if you were stage actors and like if your character was in a relationship with another character on stage, you wouldn't be like backstage making out to make everyone think that, oh, we're in a relationship and it's real. Like, no, everyone would just think that you're scummy and being weird.
Well, the difference is, are you on the one designated couch?
Oh, true. If you're on the one couch, then if it happens on the couch, it stays on the couch.
It's a shoot, then.
It's a shoot.
You powerbombed him right onto the couch.
Anybody that's done theater knows what they mean by the couch.
So as you mentioned, we will not see Bret for quite some time now.
Yeah. Like you said that this was actually leading into a break for Bret regardless.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was a longer break than he intended.
Yeah, so it's kind of strange because Bret only came back like last week.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe they just wanted to actually set something up before he left, because he kind of lost to Roddy Piper, didn't show up for a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's having some sort of surgery or just kind of healing up, done. And unfortunately, while he's healing up, the Owen Hart tragedy will happen. Again, we will talk about that more when we get to it. But Bret will take some obviously deserved time off around that time.
Yeah.
I think he comes back during the fall.
Which I still think is too soon. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Ugh, I can't imagine.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was really intrigued by where the hell they were going to go from here with this, but...
guess we won't see for a while.
I don't know if they do anything with it,
yeah.
In all honesty. I mean, he may face Goldberg, and they may just totally ignore that this happened. I don't know.
We'll see. In the fall.
That said, this was a great segment.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, the steel plate really got me, and that was the first time in a long time that I've been like, oh, wow, for something that WCW has put out. Like,
it's funny because I knew about this segment, and they were just sitting there. It's a while. Mm-hmm. They lay there, and you were like, "What's happening?" And I'm like, "Just wait. Like, it will." Like, I'm like, it will pay off. Something will happen here. Imagine they just went to commercial. He just spears them. They're both down. And just, folks, we're out of time.
Right. Oh, yeah. That would not have been nearly as impactful if like they came back like last week. What you didn't see on Nitro. Like, it wouldn't have had the same power and gravitas to it.
You know what this kind of feels like to me? And bear with me through this.
Oh, God.
We actually recently passed, I forget how many years ago it was. So we recently passed the 8-year anniversary, you know, nothing really special in terms of 8 years, of the Mark Henry fake retirement promo.
Okay.
Which is a great segment that doesn't really lead to anything.
Right.
And people remember that, and I think they mix up when it happens. And I kind of wonder if this has the same kind of weird goggles on it of, it's a great segment. It doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe something else happens before or after where it's like, oh, this is attached to that. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of not.
Right.
Like, Mark Henry's main run was, a year and a half before that.
Right.
So I know this is revered, and I'm like, yeah, unfortunately. We'll see if even Goldberg talks about it.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really good promo. And, like, I understand why it was revered, but, yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like, there's nothing that anybody could have done about that.
Yeah. We then get a Buff Bagwell and Scott Steiner feud package. and I just still do not want to root for Buff. Buff has a new theme song when he comes out.
He does.
Unfortunately, it is not American Males.
I don't think I've heard it.
American males, American males, American males, American males, American males, American males, American males.
I like it. That would slap.
Unfortunately, it is a new theme and not American Males. This sounds more like a 80s volleyball montage, which I guess American Males kind of does too.
Yes, that definitely does. That sounds like it belongs behind a, like, I don't know, those neon sign sort of things that I can't think of, like, how to describe it, but like a video montage of, like, neon sign looking, zooming across the screen, and just men on the beach. I don't know. I have a visual in my head. I'm just not doing well at describing it.
That's great for an audio podcast.
I know. Shut up.
Can we talk about Buff's bangs / fringe?
I'd rather not.
It's not great.
It's really bad. It just looks like someone needs to push his hair up and just, like, set it.
Like, this is the late 90s. This is the era of gel.
Yeah. And maybe he just, like, forgot his and no one would let him borrow theirs. I don't know.
No, this is a pretty standard Buff look, I feel like.
It's not what he had on last time we saw him.
So, Buff grabs a mic. He says that he's Buff and he's the stuff. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
He's out here to face Norman Smiley.
Norman Smiley, as fucking commentary, will not let go.
Yeah, let's just talk about that to start. Fucking, they will not shut up about it being Smiley and occasionally Norman.
Norman Smiley. They just will not let it go. It's so
yeah,
annoying.
and like Tony just keeps calling him Smiley. And like, no, it's not
Smiley.
that.
Yeah. Whoever was trying to just call him Smiley, I respect them. Because like,
Tony.
let's move on. Can we not do this?
So the match starts and Buff does his taunt, the weird like skip step followed by the pose. Then he does one move and does it again. Then does another move and then does push-ups. Then goes to the camera and says, I didn't know we hired Warren Moon.
To which we had to look up who Warren Moon was.
Well, I knew who Warren Moon was. I just forgot what he looked like. He's an NFL quarterback. I think actually at this point he was playing quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Him and Norman Smiley don't look terribly dissimilar.
No.
But like, that's not a Gotham kind of reference. You know what I mean?
You
it's like,
kind
oh,
of
you
look
look
like this football player.
Yeah, this football player who like is good.
Yeah, I'm not. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's like some sort of inside thing that we're missing.
It's not like, oh, I didn't know we hired Tim Tebow or Johnny Manziel, where it's something that like, you know, like a football player who actually like has heat with certain people.
Right. Maybe it's an inside joke from '99 that we just don't know. I don't know.
It'd be like someone going, I didn't know we hired Dak Prescott. It's like, okay.
Okay.
Like, you need something on top of that. You're halfway to a joke.
Right, yeah. There's got to be something else there.
So, during this match, Emily did a little research. You did a little Google search on Mr. Bagwell and what he's up to now.
Oh! I forgot that I looked this up. So while we were watching this match, I just did a fun little Google search of like, hey, Buff Bagwell, I know you're not dead, so what you doing now? Are you like a trainer or something? First thing that comes up is a TMZ article that says Buff Bagwell was arrested. So I clicked the article and I'm like, oh God, what did he do? Like, he didn't do anything like horrible. It was just, hit and run, open container. But the best part about it, he was arrested in Cobb County, Georgia.
If you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, you better read the signs, respect the law and order, use of hard times. You'll be serving hard times.
For lying to police.
He did not respect the law, and now he'll be serving hard times.
We had to stop the show when I found that fact because I was like, Nick, this cannot be true. There's no way.
I don't think he ever got arrested for it, but other TMZ article, back in 2014, he was a successful gigolo. I think we've referenced that before.
We have.
I think I had to cut out a Deuce Bigelow reference because it was too niche.
This man's life is just so interesting.
He apparently was earning $400 an hour as a gigolo.
Cool.
A weekend with the Buffster will set you back $8,000.
Wow.
But
I don't think I
but
would want
the
that.
full week is a better value at $25,000.
I could not. There's no way. What would you do with a week with Buff Bagwell? You're paying him, so you guys can do whatever. Would you want to wrestle? Would you want to talk? Like,
I would make him watch his matches and go, why'd you do that there, Buff?
that's a good idea.
What's the thought process here?
What was your plan?
Are you the stuff?
Can I see the top hat? Can I have the top hat?
He did not have the top hat here.
No, he didn't. Maybe that's why we didn't realize like the hair was so bad in the past, because he's been wearing that fucking top
Well,
hat.
he's also been wearing like random baseball hats too.
True.
So Smiley hits the Smiley Slam and then does a little shimmy. He then does the Buff taunt as well, which I laughed at. Bagwell tries to roll him up, but Smiley kicks out. Norman works over the neck for a long while with
give me that neck.
some slow, I wrote boring action, but I think you were into
yeah.
this more than me.
I mean, I did have fun in this match. Like, this was probably, I mean, the fun went up when I found the Cobb County fact. But, yeah, it wasn't a bad match in my eyes. I thought it was kind of fun.
Buff does his taunt for the third time during this match. And but it's not a quick taunt. It is a long, drawn-out...
Oh, no.
Like, if you were playing SmackDown versus Raw, like, you would that taunt would get interrupted constantly because the person would not stay down long enough for you to do that whole taunt.
Yeah.
And Buff wins with a second rope blockbuster. I was a bit bored, but compared to the rest of the show, this was passable.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
like,
it.
I liked it. I thought it was fun. It's the best match for me thus far. I think it's better than the Booker T match. In terms of, like, entertainment.
I'll put it this way. Let's move on to a match that is better than all of the matches so far, and without question.
Okay, well, yeah. I'm saying to this point, it's the best.
Because next up is the tag team title match of Rey Mysterio Jr. and Kidman versus Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. And I literally wrote him like, this should be a great match.
It should be, yes. Benoit
hits a massive back body drop early on. Kidman hits a powerbomb on Chris Benoit, and I desperately wanted Chris Benoit to reverse it into a facebuster. But then Ray and Dean tag in, and they've had some very quality matches over the years.
Have.
Ray gets worked over in the corner and loses a strap to his overalls.
Okay, yeah, Ray's gear just makes me so sad lately. Really, since he's gotten unmasked, it's just, his gear is so...
Yeah, because it was like Arctic camouflage overalls.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that's probably not a great idea to wrestle in because...
Like the buckles.
Well, not even that. He lost one strap. What happened if he lost the other strap?
I would hope that he's wearing some kind of tights underneath.
I mean, probably, but I'm just like, your pants are still going to fall down and you're going to look ridiculous.
You're going to look silly.
You look sillier than you already are wearing overalls.
Yeah.
Ray hits a springboard Hurricane Rana to Benoit and then a spin kick to Dean. Ray tries for another Hurricane Rana, but Benoit holds onto him and Dean dives from the top rope and turns it into an assisted powerbomb. Dean then foolishly tries to powerbomb Kidman, but Kidman counters it into a facebuster. Yes. Would you believe it?
Our boy with the facebuster.
Dean hits a top rope gutbuster on Kidman, which had you scared.
It looked rough.
That's like a patented Dean Malenko move, too.
I know, but every time he does it, it's like, ugh.
I did write ouch.
Yeah, it looked ouchy.
And unfortunately, after that, they go to commercial, and I'm like, damn it, I was really into this match.
They always cut to commercial in Ray Kidman matches. Like, without a doubt, every time. I don't understand why.
Back from the break, the champions are working over Kidman. Kidman hits a vaulted double drop kick to the champions and then tags in Ray. Ray vaults Kidman to the outside onto Chris Benoit, and then Dean hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and goes for the pin, but the ref is distracted, so I think that was meant to kind of protect the champions here. Of like, they had a visual win at one point. Ray then goes for a top rope Hurricane Rana, but Dean catches him with a powerbomb and starts to go for the cloverleaf. But during the setup, Raven and Perry Saturn come down. I guess, is he Perry Saturn here or is he Scary Saturn here?
I think he's Perry Saturn, because I don't remember being like, ugh.
He didn't really do anything.
Well, no. And I think they're only calling him Saturn now. I think he's only going by Saturn.
They flip-flop on it.
Well, they call Kidman. I want to call him Billy.
They flip-flopped on calling, I think, both of them by their full names and just their last names.
Right. Because, like, whenever I talk about Billy Kidman, I call him Billy, at least in my notes.
I think Saturn might, like, distract the ref because Raven comes in, hits the even flow DDT on Dean, and pulls Ray on top.
Yeah.
Ray gets the pin, new champions.
Woo!
I thought this was a really good match.
I wish they didn't interfere.
Yeah, the ending got a little messy and overbooked.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to seeing these guys wrestle again.
Yeah, like this foursome.
Yeah, there is a reason for them to have another match.
Yes.
Which I'm like, okay, You know,
I don't.
Not all matches are going to end clean. It was
these two teams don't need Raven and Perry Saturn coming in to interfere. These four can put on a good match without interference. And it just felt so stupid and so unnecessary. And like they ruined it.
Yeah, and I did think it was interesting that, you know, you had a story with Raven and Perry Saturn versus Benoit Malenko, and you put the titles on a team that wasn't a team before 2 hours before this match.
Right.
I guess they had been previously, but I'm like, it was an interesting choice. We'll see how that kind of progresses going forward.
Right.
They might do some sort of 3-team action. TLC is not a thing at this point yet, so I don't think we're gonna get anything like that. Oh, that would be interesting.
That would be fun.
Kind of match for that.
That would be fun though.
Because you have like, you know, the technical guys, the hardcore guys, and the high flyers.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much content with any combination of those matches, though, so I'm looking forward to whatever comes from this.
Yeah, whatever comes will be good, and will be fun to watch.
We then get a Spring Breakout Cineburst recap, same thing from last week.
It's the exact same package as last time.
And we get the Nitro girls again.
My girls.
Was this the one where they were clearly doing a new dance because they didn't know it as well?
Yes. Yeah, so the Nitro girls had one dance that they recycled that they did great earlier in the show, and then this one was clearly new, and they didn't quite have the choreography nailed out. I'll give them a pass.
Time for the main event, complete with Michael Buffer. I feel like we haven't seen him in a few weeks.
I know.
It is Hulk Hogan versus DDP with Ric Flair.
Woo!
DDP does not do his crowd bit to start his entrance, so I was kind of happy. It's one of those like, all right, you can't heel in the crowd and then kind of go over and be like,
no, that wouldn't have worked.
Match starts, and we get some very big Hogan chants.
I don't like that. I don't like Hogan chants.
Pretty standard action from these two going into the commercial break. When we come back, they're brawling at the commentary desk, and there's no commentary because they're not there. And apparently there's no count out because they're just wrestling on the ramp for a while.
So I guess this is a no DQ match as per any
I don't know.
Hulk Hogan match.
Rules
there
don't
are
apply
no
to
rules.
Hulk Hogan's matches.
Yeah, exactly.
So they try to do a spot on the stage where DDP whips Hogan into the large WCW logos on each side, and Hogan just doesn't push hard enough because they're trying to tip him over. Yeah,
because you pointed out this is the last time with this set, so it would make sense at the main event. They're going to destroy the set, whatever. I think that's what they wanted to do.
That is what they were trying to do, because Hogan then whips DDP into one side. DDP literally, gets whipped into it and then is like sitting there pushing for 5 seconds. They manage to tip over one side, and commentary treats this like they're burning the building down.
Yeah.
They then go back to ringside and like DDP gets thrown into the steps, and they're like, "Oh, this place is never going to be the same." It's like that spot happens like once a match.
People pick those things up and launch them at each other. What are you talking about?
Clearly, what they had planned and what actually happened was a lot different. Because also, you couldn't do too much with the actual truss, like of the set, because there's lights on there. That's an expensive thing to fucking try to do.
Right. Yeah, they're not replacing everything. They're just replacing the decorations.
So in the ring, Hogan chokes DDP with his weightlifting belt, which is countered by a low blow. Sure.
I guess.
Flair then tries to attack Hogan on the outside, but DDP doesn't want help, so he decks Flair. Flair then kind of disappears for a little while after this, but then just reappears with no real surprise there.
Yeah.
Commentary's like, "Where's Flair?" And I'm like, "Yeah, where is Flair?" And then he just stands up. I'm like, "Oh, there he is."
Oh, there he is. He just wanted to take a seat. He's tired. Long day.
Commentary even points out during this match that there's only kind of something on the line.
Is there anything?
It's like there's implications on the line. And while they're doing that, something clearly happens in the crowd, because the entire crowd turns
and looks at something else,
and then something happens, and then you hear everybody go boo, and it's like, oh, like nothing in the match was prompting this.
No. So I'm thinking that like somebody in the audience was just being a little jackass and got thrown out, maybe,
or like a fight started in the audience,
maybe, and they broke it up, and they're like, "Ah, boo," people, you know how people are.
In the ring, Hogan tries to do some sort of weird arm bar, and I'm like, this just looks wrong.
Arm bar.
DDP gets whipped into the ref, and Hogan hits a big boot, but misses the leg drop as Charles Robinson comes into ref. DDP signals for the diamond cutter, but Hogan hulks up. Flair comes in with a chair and accidentally hits DDP, while Charles Robinson like has his hand like covering like the angle, like I can't DQ you if I don't see it, so I'm not gonna look. But as mentioned, Flair accidentally hits DDP. Hogan fights off Flair, hits a leg drop on DDP. Charles Robinson refuses to count, so Hogan punches him, and then recovers DDP, and the first ref, I think it was Mickey J, counts the pin. This was a bit of a mess of main event, and honestly, I'm a little mad that Hogan didn't hit another leg drop. Because he hit a leg drop, waited like 30 seconds went by, and then DDP still doesn't kick out.
Yeah, no, you're right. He probably should have done that again.
And it just overall made DDP look a bit weak.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
And I think that might have been a bit by design, because apparently this match did not draw a huge rating, and Hogan just went, well, DDP's the problem, because we know I'm a draw.
Oh, I hate that.
Thoughts on the match before we move on to the show as a whole?
It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, it was...
It was fun.
The last 2 minutes were a bit of a mess, but the match itself, I really wish they achieved what they were going for with the set going nuts.
Yeah, that
it was like
cool.
you tossed some papers around commentary, and that was kind of it.
I think they planned out those spots in theory, but didn't actually try anything before they went for it on camera.
I don't know if this is better than the time Triple H threw a sledgehammer through a tarp, basically, that they were projecting the thing on. They were projecting Vince McMahon, who, we've talked about this, he flinched, and they had a bunch of pyro go off, like Triple H broke the Titantron, and they debuted a whole new set.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was more or less convoluted than that.
Probably less convoluted, but still just as stupid.
Because it doesn't seem like, oh, we have to replace things next week. So that was the March 29th, 99 Nitro.
I felt like we went through that really quick.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of nothing matches, but then a good amount of good stuff here, too.
Yeah.
And some story progression. Unfortunately, not enough because there's a pay-per-view in 8 days, but...
Oh my god, there's a pay-per-view in 8 days.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of announced matches. We have the Cruiserweight title match.
We have,
Disco and
Conan?
No world title match, no Goldberg match.
Bret Hart's not coming back.
Yeah. So, we'll have to see. Something will happen with the tag titles, maybe, but there's already a Cruiserweight title match, so I guess...
I guess we'll see? I don't know, because, do we have another Nitro before the pay-per-view?
Yes.
So maybe stuff will be announced then?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to announce a whole bunch of stuff, or just not announce it, and,
Go into the episode, or the pay-per-view, and figure it out.
They've done that before.
They have.
Overall, this was... I mean, check out a couple of the bits we praised, but...
Definitely watch the Bret Hart promo, because that was good.
Yeah, this is better than last week.
Yes, for sure.
Because, Jesus, we wanted to die last week. Last week, we went through this pretty quickly, but even I feel like we had positives and things to talk about versus...
Right.
Ricky Rackman was nowhere on this show.
I still forget that is his name, because that's Frosted Tip Man, yes?
Yep.
I call him Frosted Tips.
Before we get to Best Bits and MVP, I've been slacking on talking about the show ratings a little bit.
Oh, you're right.
So, last week did a 4.0 compared to Raw's 6.4. This week dropped to a 3.5
Yikes.
compared to Raw's 6.5. The last time WCW did worse than this rating on a standard Nitro, because I was looking this up, there's a couple weird ones where they got preempted and pushed to 12:30 a.m. And it was an hour-long show. The last time they did a 3-4 or worse was July 28th, 1997.
Yikes. So the crash is happening.
Yeah?
And Raw's just getting better and better.
Yeah. We're not... I don't think we're at the peak Raw rating yet, but it can only get marginally better from here.
Yeah, true.
Let's go to Best Bit and MVP. Emily, what is your best bit?
The Bret Hart promo, by far.
Yeah.
Easily.
If the tag title match had a little bit more of a clean, or even just neat finish, I think we would have been in consideration.
Yeah, because that was definitely the best match for me, but it went from a 9 to a 7 when Perry and, what's-his-face came in, Raven.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Bret Hart segment, I would also give consideration to that DDP interview. I really liked that. It was a nice character building kind of thing.
It's unfortunate. I don't even have, a jokey answer for either of these. Because, my MVP is Bret Hart.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's obvious when the best bit is something.
Yeah. But sometimes I have, a fucky sort of, oh, my MVP is Sting up in the rafters. No.
Yes, I was kind
Sting
of...
didn't do anything.
Yeah, we talked about that. I was really expecting Sting to show back up.
I expected him to come back in the main event, and he never showed.
So they had Sting come back. They teased on the hotline the other week that Randy Savage was also being talked about, so we'll see if Randy Savage turns up one of these weeks too. So our next episode 23, is going to be, I think it's the April 5th. It's the next Nitro. It's the one before Spring Stampede.
Yeah.
Check your local Peacock for what the hell date that one is.
Just imagine there's like a peacock walking around on the
Sir,
streets.
what's the next Nitro?
Anything else you got, Nick?
You can follow us on Twitter at ButtsInThePod.
As well as on Instagram at ButtsInThePod.
Keep forgetting about the Instagram.
Yes.
Subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
And tell your friends.
Leave us a rating, a review, or honestly, right now, the best way you can help us out is word of mouth. I know we want to climb up those charts, but, you know, share the podcast with somebody in your life that you think it's something they'd like. Emily, before we go, any thoughts on Sonny Ono?
Oh, we didn't even talk about the Treasures episode, but that man, what a guy.
That'll be a hook for the next time we see him.
Yeah, we have some Sonny Ono thoughts that might shock you. Tune in next time.
No, we're not doing the clickbait thing. He showed up on a show we were watching, and we'll talk about that next time. That's our big hook for the next episode.
All right.
Find out next time on episode 23 of the Butts in the Seats podcast.